Hi, you guys, and welcome back to Conversations with God, Book 1. We're going through chapters 38 to 40 today. It's just a short one, and yeah, nothing too long. So, but again, before I get into it, remember to get me up to 1,000 subscribers so that I can start going live on my phone again, because the quality is way better than the laptop. Yeah, so let's do that. Help me out, help a sister out. But anyway, um this these chapters were kind of about, my notes are here, that's why I'm looking down, if you see me looking down. It's about thought, really, talking about thought and emotion. That's what they went into. So it started off by saying, like, talking about the grandest teaching of Christ was basically that you already are, in simple. She said, it was a woman speaking at this time. It was like, it's not that you should have everlasting life, but the fact that you do have everlasting life. And it's not the fact that you should be asking for things, but it's like knowing that you already have it, or you already do. But the biggest thing is that we don't know this. If we knew it, then it's a game changer, really. Yeah, what do you lot think of that? I've heard that many times. Let me put the pen down because I keep clicking the clicker. I've heard that many times, really. A lot of people and things say, videos I've watched, they say the truth is we just don't know. We don't know our potential. We don't know our power. We don't know that because it's like been hidden from us for however long. So that's kind of like why we're in the state that we're in, because we don't know our potential. So what do you guys think of that? Do you agree that we don't actually know our full potential and what we're capable of? Yeah, and then excuse me, my throat. It went on to thought, basically. Went on to say that you think everything into being, and it used God the Father as from the Holy Trinity as an example, saying that God the Father like equates to thought, because thought is the parent of all things. Now, it's not saying that literally God the Father is that. It's not saying that at all. It's just using that as an example. It definitely mentioned somewhere else, but because I've listened to this a few times, that I know it mentions it, but it obviously wasn't at this point. What like Jesus represents and the Holy Spirit along the lines of thoughts, and then there were a couple other stuff as well, but I don't want to say it yet because it does mention it later down the line. So if you want to know them, stay tuned, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a video. And yeah, so it just says thought is everything. And to be honest with you, maybe about a couple of months ago, I don't know what I was doing, I can't remember, but all of a sudden it just came to me like everything really is thoughts. It's thoughts at the end of the day. Everything, like it's like I came to a realization, like a deep, inner standing of it really is thoughts. Like I've heard it many times before. 2 years ago I've been hearing, yeah, you think it, blah blah blah, but it's only this year it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I think I really understand it now, that it's thoughts. Like I just generally was thinking about even what we see in movies, superheroes, for example. How do they practice their superpower? It's through thought, isn't it? They're literally just concentrating and they're thinking. And if it's Spider-Man, he's just like, oh, come on, I need to try this, or I need to really think to make sure I'm sticking onto the walls, etc., etc. Even X-Men, with them literally creating or performing their powers. It's thought, it's literally thought. So yeah, it literally just hit me like a ton of bricks. It seriously is thought. Thought. Everything begins with a thought at the end of the day. The thought is like the spark, isn't it? It's like, oh, and then you build on that. So then afterwards, it went on to talk about laws, because he was asking Neil Donald Walsh was like, okay, so thinking it into being, that's like a law, isn't it? And then she was like, yes. And she went on to talk about the other laws that are there, and they're basically that one is that you can be and do and accomplish whatever you can imagine. So absolutely anything. If you can picture it in your head, in your mind, if you see it, then you can do it. Basically, you can be it, you can do it, you can experience it. And you attract what you fear. There were the two laws. It said, there were the two laws, it says. So we'll go into these two a little bit. So the thoughts, what are you guys' thoughts on you can be, do, and accomplish anything you can imagine in your mind? So any picture you can literally paint in your mind, you can actually do it. Do you lot agree with that? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. Because again, especially with the whole hype that came up with The Secret coming out again, and the whole law of attraction and things like that, that was a common thing being said. But I have to be honest, it's hard to comprehend that that's possible when all your life you haven't, I wouldn't say you haven't seen it, I'd say you haven't been taught it. So you've never really been taught that concept all your life. But the truth is, when you actually look back and pay attention and kind of dissect aspects of your life, you actually have, I have, looking back at my life, the good and the bad, literally what was I planted in my head, it had come about. That's the truth when I look back at it. But because we're not taught that, like from a child, we just taught nothing about that. We just taught nothing really that we've got any type of control in our life. And we're taught that these are like set standards you go to, you finish school, go to college, go to uni, get a degree, get this job, a career, retire at 60, 70, live the rest of your days in retirement, old, hardly being able to do anything, and then you die, basically. So that's all you see. And it's only like this generation now, people are breaking through that, because they're like, nah, I'm picturing something much greater in my head. I'm not just going to slave away all my life working for someone else. No, thank you. So yeah, I get it now. I do get it now. But I'm just coming from a place of, when you've not been taught that, it's so hard to comprehend it. It really is hard to comprehend it. But like I said, if you're one of the people who find it hard to comprehend, the truth is, if you're here watching this, then you're probably one of the people who don't find it hard to comprehend. But if you do, just take time when you've got a spare time in your hands and sit back and think about your life and think, okay, what were my train of thoughts and my actions leading up to that certain instance in my life? What was it? And you'll be surprised what comes out, you know. And went on to say the second law is that you attract what you fear. Yeah, there's a meme, I can't pronounce them, the memes things online, where it's like, oh, you attract what you fear, and someone's like, oh, I'm scared of $10 billion. That made me laugh. But I do get that. I get it. I'll explain obviously what they explain, and then I'll say my opinion afterwards. So went on to say, he was like, well, how do you attract what you fear? How does that make sense? And she went on to explain, it's because fear is an emotion, and you've probably heard the saying, emotion is energy in motion. So whatever emotion you're bringing up and feeling at that time, that's the energy that you're putting in motion, basically. And obviously, if that's the energy you're putting in motion, if you put that energy in motion for long enough, in simple scientific, a simple scientific explanation here is basically if you put that energy in motion long enough, then you basically manipulate the energy around you and keep putting it in long enough, that will create matter. And then that matter, of course, creates your reality, creates your experiences, etc., etc. So that is the very simplified version of how you attract what you fear, because she mentioned that fear is a very high emotion. Like, it's low on the energetic scale, but it's very potent, because you still attract a lot of stuff when you fear, because it's a lot of energy you're still giving out. So because of that, and the truth is, think about yourself, reality is oftentimes when you are scared, or probably not angry, but you're scared or just sad, that type of feeling you tend to sit on longer, unfortunately. So it creates sadly enough, it seems like happiness don't last as long. But yeah, so I do get that. Personally, I do get it. I understand the scientific fact. We'll just say fact. I don't know. I need to look more up into the facts to, back that up before I'm like, okay, that's definitely how it works. But I do get it, because the truth is, the longer, it's not about I'm making it 100% clear, it's not about ignoring all of the lower vibrational emotions at all, because it's so important to acknowledge them, embrace them, because it's still a part of you, and work through them, not just push them to the side or bury it, because that just causes problems later on. The thing is, how long are we putting that energy, that emotion in motion for? That is literally it. Put it in motion for as long as you need to acknowledge the feeling, to sit and reflect on why you're feeling that way and accepting it. But to be in that, to have that energy emotion for days upon days, going to months and then even years for some people, that's where it's like, okay, this is, you don't need to do anything, but it will be beneficial for you to change that thought and change that energy, put a different energy in motion, so you can start creating things that are attracting things that you actually want, instead of staying in that fearful mode and you're just constantly getting things that you don't want. But like I says, because that's the energy you're putting in motion, that's just what's going to form and create, because you're doing it for long enough. So yeah, really, it's about putting, well, how I see it, whatever you actually would like in your life, put that energy in motion for longer than the things you do not want in your life. And yeah, that is it. Just a short one. And with that being said, baby has just woken up. Did you have a nice nap? Yay! So Zaya's just woken up. Come say hello. Say hiya. Hello. Yay! Smile. So yeah, with that being said, thank you again for clicking on this video, and I'll see you next week. Comment down below if you liked it, if it was helpful in any way. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, because it does help, and I appreciate every single one of you who watches these videos. Like, honestly, I really do. So I'll see you next week. Bye. And say bye. Say bye. Come on. Say it. He does say it. Watch him say it when I stop the video. Say bye. Yeah, I know. See you next week.